This is my new to me 1989 Vogue Prima Vista. 200 miles down, about 3,800 to go. This is what stranded us last time. Don't worry about that.
Is that supposed to be like that?
I said don't worry about it. All of a sudden, we are going downhill real fast.
What goes up must come down.
Be careful what you wish for. Where there's a will, there's a way. I don't know. There's worse places to be broke down in. Good morning. What could be more reliable than a 1982 shovel head? It'll surely save the day. It started up. It didn't spray fuel everywhere. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Let's hope it also runs a little bit better up these steep grades because we got a lot more in our future. The adventurer's dream, crawling across Mother Nature with one destination in mind. Sessions in Portland. What's up, weirdo? Shade Tree Surgeon here, and it's time for take 2, trying to escape Mother Nature's cleavage. Why would we want to even leave, you ask? Portland's calling, and we're in a 40-foot long, well, scratch that, 57-foot long, 40,000-pound vehicle, and I don't know if we can quite make it out. The effect is psychological. You just don't want to leave, and also fuel-related. We changed the fuel filter. We got about 10 miles of an 8% grade in front of us. Cross your fingers and pray for us. We'll see how this turns out.
Rolling like a big shot, every tone up like a NASCAR.
Oh, we're holding steady at 15 miles an hour. All right, let's roll, baby. We got a long road in front of us. Baby, we doing it. Ice cream paint job was the key. It was the magic feather. We're holding steady at 15 miles an hour, but that's good enough for rock and roll, baby. Show off. Jeez. Oh, I thought that alarm was the frickin' overheating sensor again. That's like when you...
Rap music be like that.
Yeah, rap music alarms you, dude. Stop putting police sirens and alarms in your songs. Escaping the rest of Tennessee was a game of momentum. It was actually kind of fun. As long as I got enough momentum going downhill, I usually had enough ass to get up the hill. It didn't always work out. Changing the fuel filters definitely helped, and I thought that this would be one of the hardest things I went through. Little did I know this was the most peaceful time I would experience on this trip. Once we hit traffic in Nashville, which was 10 times worse than the traffic in Atlanta, Georgia, it was pretty much all downhill from there. Stay tuned, it gets worse. Now that's some damage. Unfortunately, that's just my card limit, so it's going to actually take more. Ew. Does anybody else's RVs moan when you stick in the gas pump? Holy crap. Yeah, it better moan after all that. We have officially escaped Nashville. Super sorry that we didn't get to hang out with my man Whiskey Chaser, but I wasn't about to try to park this 57-foot rig anywhere in downtown Nashville. I'm sorry, my brother. I'll also say this, after navigating 5 o'clock traffic through downtown Nashville in a rig with no AC, I probably wouldn't have made the best company. Not that I wouldn't still be cheery. I love my friend Chase, man. We would have had a great time together and he could have watched me drink beers. It's more the smell than anything. This no AC thing has been pretty tough. I didn't think it was going to be that bad. I don't know how all my trucker friends without AC do it out there, but we're going across the country in the late June. We started in Tampa, Florida, and it's been 97 degrees pretty much every single day till now, and we're sitting at a comparatively brisk 90 through Nashville. Right now, I'm what you would call pungent. There are 2 things that make this RV move. Hundreds of gallons of gas and hundreds of glizzies too. I actually feel like I'm doing pretty good. I only require 2 hot dogs per day to keep this RV moving, and it requires like 30 gallons of diesel. Her eyes were like Kansas City, in Kansas and in misery. We made it through both these states under cover of the night. It was definitely a lot cooler in the bus when the sun wasn't up, and the engine liked it a whole lot more. I'd initially planned to push on through Nebraska, but I was way more tired than I expected, so we ended up crashing out in a Walmart parking lot for the night. And even though I can't regret stopping and sleeping because it was definitely a good idea, man, I wish I had done Nebraska in the middle of the night because we were up for the most brutal part of the trip thus far. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you the soundtrack to hell.
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
During this trip, I learned a lot about how grades on roads work, things I would have never realized on a motorcycle. Things like I-80 west through Nebraska being a gentle uphill for hundreds of miles in a straight line. Now this mild, unbroken ascent wouldn't even be noticed by a car or motorcycle, but for the struggle bus, it was a brutal war of attrition. I had no clue just how good I had it back south with those rolling hills that I could build momentum on, coasting while barely giving it any gas and still easily hitting 75 miles an hour. I got a taste of how Sisyphus must have felt driving through Nebraska on I-80, because I definitely could still hit 70 miles an hour, but you could finish a Winston 100 out of a softback in the time it took to get there. On top of that, it could only hold 70 miles an hour for about 30 minutes or so before it started overheating, because you had to keep the skinny pedal pushed past the floor to maintain that speed. The only options, once our cruel overlord the beep of misery started its hellish symphony, was to pull over and wait 15 minutes or drop the speed down to 55 and give the old Detroit a chance to cool itself off. All this starting, stopping, and wide open throttle also gave us gas mileage numbers that would make a container ship raise an eyebrow. You know it's bad when you're thinking of those carefree good old days when you used to get a whopping 7 miles per gallon. The peanut on top of this shit sandwich was again due to us heading west. Not only was the engine heating up the rig, but the sun was beating directly into the windshield and made the whole bus feel like an air fryer. Even though the outside temp was cooler than it had been in Florida, being in the direct sunlight made it feel hotter than it had the entire trip. Luckily for us, there was also absolutely nothing to look at besides corn during this masochistic marathon. Nebraska truly wants you to keep your mind squarely focused on your misery. There wasn't even any billboards, which makes sense. What the hell would they advertise anyway? We even tried to find some landmarks or tourist destinations to stop at so we could let the rig cool off and see something neat in Nebraska, but besides the world's largest paper airplane, we came up empty-handed. By the way, it's not paper, it's steel, so it's technically not a paper airplane. It is a sculpture of a paper airplane. And maybe I'm just being uncharitable here because Nebraska put me in the hurt locker, but I've only ever made a paper airplane at the very depths of boredom. So if I was to interpret this art installation, I'd say it makes perfect sense for the state. I didn't know Nebraska's state motto, so we made up a few of our own. I'll offer them free of charge to the Nebraska State Tourism Board. Nebraska, is that it? Nebraska, we've sucked since the beginning. Nebraska, America's purgatory. Nebraska, I'm really gonna do it this time. Imagine my surprise when I later looked up the official Nebraska State Tourism motto and it put mine to shame. I shit you not, their official motto is Nebraska, it's not for everyone. It actually made sense that I couldn't come up with something meaner to say about the states than its Denzians had. After all, just like Dante, I was only a visitor to this hell. They actually have to live there. If someone is willing to make a case for Nebraska, I'm willing to give it a second chance. Finding something I like about anything, just something, is usually a point of pride for me, but you better come correct, because we're starting from a deficit on this one. We gotta film it, it's the only thing. This is it. It's getting closer. We're about to experience the arch. Woo! Nebraska, baby! Adventure awaits? I don't know about that, dude. I've been waiting for a little adventure, dude. I don't know about that. All right, I lied. I found a couple things I liked about Nebraska, but I will tell you this, you do have to go to pretty much the Wyoming border in order to find them, and those couple of things are a beautiful night sky where you can see a lot of stars, and an Ace Hardware that's also a gun and liquor store. Kimball, Nebraska knows what's up, man. Hell yeah. I'll tell you boys, Nebraska's a tough one. Real tough, especially when this thing is definitely not running like it should, which is definitely somebody's fault. I'm not saying who, but somebody's. I'm learning so much about what it's like to drive a big vehicle. I've got so much more respect for all our truck drivers out there, you guys who work on the road. And I'm sure that a lot of them out there probably hate me right now because I'm learning on the job, okay? Let's get a show of hands. Who out there believes in on-the-job training? Isn't that the best? Isn't that where you learn the most, on-the-job training? Well, getting on-the-job training on how to drive a 60-foot long rig. I'm also getting on-the-job training on how a Detroit diesel works, because I didn't know anything about them before I hit on the road, and the absolute hubris that I thought I could just get there without incident is ridiculous. So let's fix it, because it's broken again. Broken is a spectrum. It's a spectrum, okay? Because it does run, but doing 35 up the slightest incline is not gonna cut it. So once again, in my on-the-job training of Detroit diesels, I've learned that the air filters actually have a check valve, and my air filter is very unhappy. My air filter, I have to assume, has ceased to be. I just gotta figure out how to get it out of there. All right, well, this should just pull out, right? Maybe? Possibly. Yeah. Actually it does. Okay, there we go. Oh, all right. Yeah, I think we need to replace that. Well, I assume this top comes off somehow. Let's see. Just gonna try, I don't know, hammer and chisel? And this top looks like it should come off, which also means that I didn't actually have to take this out, but well, it's not coming off. It's not the whole thing. I should assume it's the inside element. Not this whole piece of metal, right? Well, looks like the element doesn't come out of this. This is the whole thing, and everyone at home is probably going, yeah, dummy, I could have told you that. Well, I didn't know. I'm learning on the job. I'm new. I don't know what to do. And I really don't know what to do, because this isn't exactly something you can pick up at Wally World. Fortunately, O'Reilly's to the rescue. They'll have one here from Denver by 3 p.m. So we got 60 miles to go on this one. Hopefully it's not a big deal, but we made it this far on it, so what's 60 more miles? Let's throw it back in there, find a Wally World parking lot to hang out in, and cross our fingers that this helps us get across Donner Pass. Yeah, the thing about this air filter is, yeah, it is filthy. And I checked the maintenance records, something I should have done earlier. I checked the outside of the air filter. It's 4 years old. The big issue with this isn't that it won't run, it's the gas mileage, and it doesn't have enough power, really. Now, it will still do 75 miles an hour, you know, if you have a little bit of a downhill, but once you start going uphill, no dice, man. Changing the fuel filter helped, but I think this is the other side of the equation. Amazingly, most of this stuff requires almost no tools. Wish us luck, it's time to hit the road. We've done way more than 60 miles on what we currently got going on back there, so my confidence is high, but I'll tell you something about old shade tree surgeon. My confidence is always high. Dirty air filter or not, leaving Nebraska felt like being born again. We were ready for Wyoming, and we only had to pull over once from overheating, so that was a lot better than the day before. We got all the way to Cheyenne and in the parking lot of an O'Reilly's Auto Parts to go ahead and wait for that air filter to get delivered from Denver, Colorado. All right, guys, we are officially in Wyoming. We made it here, albeit slightly slowly, although better than we have been doing, but not quite good enough to make it up these mountain passes that we got to go through. At least I don't think, or at least I'd like to give us the best shot possible. O'Reilly's to the rescue, and they had our trash can size filter delivered from Denver to Cheyenne, Wyoming by 3 p.m. That is an absolute unit, man. One of the really cool things I've learned about this rig is you need very few tools to maintain it. I bought some tools when I went to change the fuel filter element, and it turns out you actually don't need a single tool to do it. The only thing you need to change this is 1 10mm wrench or socket. Everything else just clamps in place. But gloves, definitely recommended. Yeah. Working on big diesels is a freaking workout, dude. Fingers crossed, but we do have one more thing to replace. I didn't think there was a secondary fuel filter on this, even though it showed one in the manual, but turns out it was hiding down there. So we're gonna replace that sucker too, just so hopefully everything's running like it should. Fingers crossed, y'all, because if this doesn't work, I kinda am out of options. I'm sure there's something else that's probably easy to figure out, but I've reached the end of my very limited abilities, so here's to hoping.
Dude, that's bullshit. You just it's not your limited abilities, it's your I'm not gonna read the manual. Everything
Why should I read the manual? You read it.
But I don't know what all the words mean.
Yeah, but I feel like us doing it together, we figure it out, and that way I still don't have to read it. That's called saving time. I'm efficient. Things were looking up. Wyoming was absolutely gorgeous. The struggle bus was struggling a little less than before, and my reckless optimism, ever lurking beneath any surface of despair, had sprung forth once more. All thoughts of being punished by the gods for my hubris instantly fled my mind. All my pleas, promises, and vows in exchange for getting this hunk of pig iron just one more mile down the road, forgotten like a promise in the face of a lover's ecstasy. But the elder things that govern the cult of Brapstar are jealous, fickle, and capricious creatures, and with my head held high, I never saw the fall coming, as per usual. We blew an airline somewhere beneath the struggle bus, which can be quite the issue when you've got to use air brakes to stop 40,000 pounds of trailer park going down a 5% grade.
Well, we were trucking along until we developed an air leak. We do have Flex Seal, right? I can hear it hissing back there. My air pressure gauge started freaking out. Well, first things first, let's find this leak. I can kind of hear it. It's coming from somewhere down there.
I'll say this for my initial fix. I tried.
Okay, had to pull over again. Morale was low. To nobody's surprise, this didn't work.
I'll say this for my second fix. It kinda worked. It didn't completely stop the leak, but it at least slowed it down enough that the air brakes worked. We'll file that one under it's not dumb if it works. Unfortunately, we now had the beep of hellish misery and the beep of sorrow's gate to deal with. If I ever find the person responsible for putting two different beeps that make slightly different sounds and occur at slightly different frequencies, well, I had a couple thousand miles to think up some really creative ways to use a speculum, an extension cord, a couple of 24-volt RV batteries, and a bottle of Tabasco. Trust me, this guy earned it.
As we sit here in the middle of, what state are we in? We're in Idaho. We were in Wyoming for a while. We were in Nebraska for much too long. Now we're in Idaho. I can't believe that we've made it 3,000 miles all the way across the country. Right now I'm in the breakdown lane going 25 miles an hour with two different beeps. What machine needs two different beeps for two different things? Like, I understand that there's a problem, but you have a beep for my water temperature and a beep for my air pressure. They are different noise levels and they occur at different frequencies, only linking up for a short time every 15 seconds, and it's driving me insane. I'm trying to figure out how to destroy these things or pull the fuses out. Shaylisi just kind of likes how they sound. She has Stockholm syndrome with the beeps. 25 miles an hour. We've only got about 1,000 miles to go. I can't believe that we've made it across the country without a single police officer coming up to us and saying, just what in the fuck do you think you're doing? Maybe because I already know the answer. The answer is like, I have no idea. I'm trying to drive my bus and have some Slurpees, sir.
It's the all-American dream.
It's the American dream.
Don't shit on me.
That's our flag. Don't shit on me. Snake in a toilet. Don't shit on me. Anyway, Twin Falls, here we go.
We're taking a quick break from your regularly scheduled content for a word from our sponsors. God, say it ain't so. Shade Tree Surgeon had to take on a sponsorship. Well, with the gas prices we've been paying to keep the struggle bus moving down the road, not to mention all the parts, I had to take on a sponsor. As always, that sponsor is me. And when I say me, I mean the royal we. Not just me, myself, Shaylisi, all of Brapstar, which means all of you, all you guys out there that help keep this channel independent. We've got brand new ways from Brapstar to cover your shameful nudity. With the first one definitely being inspired by the fact that I would much rather be cranking my hog than driving around a 40,000 pound bus. Say it loud, say it proud, make sure the whole world knows what you'd rather be doing. After all, I've never met a hog that didn't like to crank. Every cult needs an elder thing, but our eldritch beings 2 miles tall in Dimension X, well, they've got fake tits and BBLs. Just because you're a gigantic interdimensional avenging creature doesn't mean you can't be sexy. And I've done plenty to piss off the elder things on this trip already. So to celebrate the release of our new strain with Sugar Tree Farm and Sessions Original Sin, well, we also have the Brapstar Final Boss. Beware the sins of man, indulge the sins of women. And make sure to keep an eye out for old Cami Bay doing a photo shoot coming soon of that very image. Of course, to celebrate July, my very favorite month, my birthday
month, America's birth month, we've got Death from Above coming back. We previously only had this in hoodies, but I wanted to be able to offer it on a shirt too, and also on a Dickies work shirt for all you guys out there who live in the moist heat like I do down in the Wang. Hoodies are great and all, but down in Florida, we only get to wear them a couple months out of the year, and even then, it's always a toss-up. As always, every single order will come with free gifts, so if you want something that's definitely not work safe, definitely not wife safe, definitely not family safe, then make sure in your order notes to put I am 18. This release's Rule 34 sticker pack is themed consume or be consumed. As they say, the key to happiness is to find something you love and let it kill you. I take that approach with motorcycles and women. If you got kids, a wife, or someone who otherwise wouldn't understand the very strange stickers that I sometimes throw in these packs, make sure to leave I've seen worse in your order notes, and I'll throw in a slightly less offensive sticker pack for you guys. We'll also be throwing stickers in every single order to celebrate our new release with Sessions and Brapstar Cannabis here in Oregon. We're coming out with new strains, Banana Phone, Whiskey River, Original Sin, and my personal favorite, Ice Cream Paint Job done by the amazing Conrad. Those stickers will be in every single sticker pack, and if you live in Oregon or anywhere around the PNW where you can get away with a little border crossing, make sure to keep your eyes peeled and ask your local bud tender to order it on LeafLink. Link to brapstar.com in the description down below. As always, I appreciate you guys helping keep this channel independent, and even more so appreciate you covering your weird body with Brapstar merch. I want to see Shade Tree Army on your tit. Alright, now back to the video. We still got a lot of miles to go. As Shay made peace with her new overlords, the Beeps, and I plotted their destruction, the RV slowly started to get worse and worse. The overheating was non-stop, even when running at previously safe speeds, and uphill power had dwindled to almost nothing. It was all we could do to limp the struggle bus into Twin Falls, Idaho, where we figured out that the turbo had ceased to make any boost at all, contributing both to our lack of power and overheating the oil. I didn't film any of us fixing what was wrong with it. It proved just too stressful and took way too much focus to keep my morale up while also trying to think around corners in order to fix the issue at hand. One of the exhaust flanges had cracked and crumbled off, letting all the exhaust gas escape before spooling up the turbo, and since they have a communal collector, all the exhaust gas from the other side poured out the hole as well. Once more, we dive into the abyss. It's too early for this crap. But unless I do it now, we ain't going nowhere. Our turbo has ceased to turbo. The hair dryer ain't drying nothing. And when you've got something the size of this absolute unit, that's a problem. Let's see if we can fix it. Several bush fixes later, 4 trips to an exhaust shop, and the tireless efforts of my man from After Hours Semi-Repair, and we kinda had it patched. After Hours specifically does not work on RVs. He misunderstood what I was asking for when I called him that morning, and unfortunately for him, when he showed up, we ended up getting along really well, so he spent the entire day helping me fix this thing. One thing I've learned over the past several years traveling, the best part of being on the road is the people. I've had random strangers push me, pick me up from the side of the road, let me tear apart my motorcycle in their garage, and let me sleep on their couch, and now spend all day helping me fix something that they specifically don't work on. This once again drove home the affirmation that if you go on a road trip and don't end up with some new friends afterwards, you must be riding or driving something with a warranty. Amazingly enough, the old Detroit fired up and even built a few pounds of boost. These engines are really growing on me. Just like a shovelhead, they might be wounded, they might limp, and they might complain, but they never truly fail to proceed, and they take bush fixes like a fish to water. Truly an apocalypse engine. With the very best of the worst repairs we could manage, we forged ahead into Oregon. Well, we're in Oregon. I can't believe that we're in Oregon, but we're in Oregon. The fact that all of this fiberglass, steel, and somewhat working Detroit diesel, along with 2 motorcycles, a trailer, has made it all the way across the country is nothing short of amazing. And I'm going to go into more about this later, but I have got such a... I already like truckers. I grew up on Smokey and the Bandit and Convoy. I've always thought truckers were cool. I've always been really interested in any big machines. And when I became an adult and realized that life as we know it wouldn't exist without people who drive trucks, then I liked them even more. After driving this, experiencing breakdowns and feeling what it's like to drive something this big, which isn't even as big as a truck. It's big, but it ain't a semi, man. And after experiencing what it's like to drive this across the country, I have an entirely new respect for people who drive on the road for a living, man. This was tough, dude. I haven't filmed for the past couple of days. A lot has happened because this took everything out of me, man. Been watching the channel for a while. You remember when I took the shovelhead cross country? I thought that was tough. It was nothing compared to this. As usual, if it wasn't for the kindness of strangers, I don't know what I'd do. I cracked the flange off the end of an exhaust manifold, meaning that turbo wasn't turboing and I was covering everything in soot. Truck was making almost no power whatsoever. If you look in there, you'll see a very jury-rigged piece of pipe over the broken flange back into the turbo. Definitely an incredibly dicey proposition. And we're still only making a few pounds of boost, but it's better than zero. As per usual, if it wasn't for the kindness of strangers, I would be absolutely sunk, man. There is a lot of hours in making a fix that mostly gets the exhaust gas into the turbo, but it's better than the flange being completely broken off, which is what I was dealing with before, and just pouring black smoke going 5 miles an hour up any sort of grade. At this point, I can now do 10 miles an hour up a grade, double the speed. Time for the last couple 100 miles. I am running on nothing but White Monsters, Icy Hot, and Adderall right now. My homemade Flex Seal and Zip Tie airline fixed is putting in maximum effort. The turbo is turboing about 2 or 3 pounds of boost, and we're about to attempt something called Dead Man's Pass. It's not exactly filling me full of confidence, but there's only one outcome here, and that's success. Here goes nothing, boys. Well, it wasn't up Dead Man's Pass, it's down Dead Man's Pass. And I'll tell you, the struggle bus does way better going down than it does going up. You know, no one's more amazed than me that you're allowed to operate these things without any sort of license at all. Never used air brakes before, never used a Jake brake before, and this is a transmission one, not an exhaust one, so it's different from the ones that you hear on big trucks. I don't really know if I did it right or not, but I will say this, I managed to get myself down the pass under 70 miles an hour without crashing into anything and without melting my transmission. So whether I did it right or not, or whether you're supposed to like pick one position and leave it there, or you're kind of supposed to stab at it to slow yourself down when needed, I don't really know, but we got there, right? That counts for something. Once again, we'll put this in the ever-growing file of it's not stupid if it works. Well, check Dead Man's Pass off the list, although that had a certain air of finality. We made it down at fine, but if this thing had to make it back out of here, I don't know how likely that is. Coming into the Columbia River Gorge after everything we'd went through was incredibly cathartic. Florida will always be my home, but Oregon and Utah are constantly wrestling for the top spot in the most beautiful places in America, in my opinion at least. The struggle bus was running, well, it wasn't running better than it ever had, but it was definitely running better than it had the last few days. We were even building enough steam to make a couple of unprecedented passes. I'm gonna have to pass somebody in the struggle bus? What the hell? This is just egregious. I can't believe this guy's over here on the road going, how fast am I going? Oh, about 10 miles slower than me. People are trying to get by, okay? And you're just over here clogging up the roadways. I've got to pass you at, I'm going almost 49 miles an hour now. Get off the road. What are you doing? We've got places to be. I hope we don't hit any kind of incline or else we're going back behind him. There are people behind me right now going like, this is the two dumbest people in a boxing match right now. It's like, who let these guys fight? Who let these two in the ring? Man. We gotta drive next to them because next to them we look like we're freaking killing it.
The lady in the passenger seat looks so stressed.
Not like us.
No, dude, the lady in this passenger seat has accepted her fate.
Yeah, we're not stressed at all, man, because we're flying 50 miles an hour. It's got to be a rough day when you get overtaken by the struggle bus. I was still in a daze. I'm not exaggerating when I say that I've never been on a trip that took more out of me than this one. My hat is off to anyone that makes their living in a truck on the road. Not only would life as we know it cease to exist without their hard work, but god damn, that cannot be an easy job. A week of truck stop chow, 97-degree heat, pitch black 8% grades, sleeping at rest stops, roadside repairs, and wet nap showers left me feeling like I went 3 rounds with a rabid Rottweiler. To all my trucker friends out there, I say this without a shred of ego. Thank you for your service. I think I'll stick to motorcycles. And with that, it was time to sleep for about 12 hours straight. When in Rome, do as the Romans. When in Portland, do as the Portlanders. Well, if it can handle Joey, I think it can handle anybody.
Welcome to the Thunderdome.
They literally just lifted off the ground. It does wheelies! We made it. It is a harrowing story full of peril. But for right now, happy birthday, America. And I think on America's birthday, we should definitely ride Harley Davidsons and Magnas, which were made for America anyway. It's like a birthday present to America from Japan.
It's like the cherry blossom.
It's just like the cherry blossom trees. Exactly. Feels pretty damn good that our first real day here in the PNW is on the 4th of July. We finished this road trip. It took a whole hell of a lot longer than we thought it was going to. But baby, we are born again on the 4th of July. Now, it wasn't quite 40 days and 40 nights on the road, but mentally it felt that way. Still doesn't feel real. I still feel like I've lost a day. It's hard to say because every trip that I do that doesn't go super well, which is most of them, strictly my fault, mind you. Everyone says I have bad luck, and I guess I do, but I don't do much to help that. And I always say I'm definitely a pessimist. The glass is half full of piss, okay? And I just look at the bright side and said, hey, I made it, so to me, that's a win, not a loss. That's good luck, not bad. It's all relative, baby. I always feel like I'll make it, even when I don't. I mean, no one's more surprised when I actually throw in the towel than me. I always think everything's gonna work out just fine. It's definitely one of my very many and very toxic traits. It doesn't feel real. Riding this bike, the Shovelhead, which I gotta call Joanna because I wanted her to get a chance to sit on it. Joanna, who won the Shovelhead, had said that she didn't want it, but I felt that it was the right thing to get it up here. She can sit on it and actually make that decision once it's in front of her. I think that's the right thing to do, so we'll get around to that. Well, if you're watching right now, Joanna, what's up? Tell your mom I said hi. Well, it's 6 a.m. here at Sunnyvale. I live in a trailer park now, which is okay. I've lived in trailer parks before. It doesn't bother me at all, but how did I get here? How did I find myself behind the wheel of this large automobile? Why am I living in another part of the world? Will I ever live in a big, beautiful house and have a beautiful wife? I got questions. Way too many of them right now. I think they're best answered on a ride. How did I get here? Well, I definitely got here behind the wheel of a large automobile. Yeah, driving the old struggle bus certainly was, I was about to say fun. I'll call it interesting. I'll call it a character building experience. I don't know about fun. I'd always rather be cranking the hog, baby. That 6 a.m. sun does you no favors out here in Portland, does it? How did I get here? Why did I get here is a better question. Well, as I pull onto these amazing motorcycle roads, and it's a crisp 66 degrees outside in early July, the why starts to be very evident. The why? Why am I living in a trailer park in a jumped up school bus in the middle of nowhere, Oregon?
Well, the short answer is still motorcycles. The long answer is motorcycles again, forgotten angels, and the power of chaotic good. As you guys have been watching for a long time, remember that I met Sugar Tree Jay a few years back when I came up here with Circus Bear Moto to pick up that shovel head I rode cross country. And the reason I met him is motorcycles and forgotten angels. Since then, Sugar Tree Jay has donated several motorcycles and done a bunch of other really great stuff for forgotten angels. He's come down to Tampa to come to the camp out, and we've come up here several times to party with him. And me and Shay Lacey, well, shitbirds of a feather flock together. What can we say? We're all bad people trying to do some good things. We're all trying to get into the black on karma, and my man Sugar Tree Jay is no exception. He's in the cannabis business. He operates within a gray area of federal law, but that don't mean he doesn't want to do good things. Now, there's a whole lot of charities out there with their noses in the air, and probably with a whole lot of directors and accountants and all these people who take big paychecks. They don't want help from people like Sugar Tree Jay and cannabis. They don't want that kind of help. They want to keep their hands clean, but something that we've always figured out here is you can be a bad person doing good things. And when we get all these bikers together to party, have a good time, maybe smoke a little too much smoke, maybe have a few too many beers and laugh a little too loud, that's all right, baby. We're still doing good stuff, and that's why we're here. Myself, Shay Lacey, and Sugar Tree Jay became friends first and business partners second. Like I always say, people who tell you to never do business with friends, let's just have some bad friends. My rule is I never do business with anyone who's not my friend. If you live out here, you've experienced downtown Portland, you know that Oregon needs a Forgotten Angels badly. On top of that, when Sugar Tree Jay first breached the subject of me and Shay Lacey partnering up with him with Sessions Cannabis and Brapstar out here, well, he invited us to see every single process of how he does business and how he makes his product. All y'all out there know I want to see Brapstar on your tip. We very much want you to be a part of what is very much not a cult, especially if the FBI's asking. We don't really do sponsorships over here. That's not really my thing. Nothing against anybody who does. It's just not my thing, man. I don't want to get paid by somebody to tell all y'all that their product is great and say, hey, buy this thing. They gave me money to tell all you guys out there that it's great. If we're going to get involved with anything, first off, it ain't a sponsorship, it's a partnership. Secondly, you guys trust me. Now, you know, some people might say you're foolish for trusting old shade tree surgeon, especially a few of my ex-girlfriends out there. But I'll tell you this, I know that you guys trust me, and I want you to continue to trust me. So when I say that something's good, and I need to stick my fingers into the side of the Lord, call me Doubting Thomas. And with the Brapstar Sessions collabs, and also every single thing that Sessions makes, I can, without a shadow of a doubt, say it is as good or better, and I'm gonna go ahead and lean towards better than any other product on the market, period. They don't use pesticides, they use ladybugs. They grow it under the sun. Just like Winston, no bull, baby. Everything that goes into the cart came out of the plant. Nothing else is added. When you buy one of those dab carts, 100% of the fluid in there came from a plant. There ain't no bubblegum flavoring, there ain't no glycol, ethylene, bunch of names you can't pronounce in that mixture in there. It is 100% out of the ground, grown underneath the sun. If I'm gonna ask you to buy something that you're going to ingest, that's important to me, trust me. The other part that sold me is even though Jason and the boys on the farm are making the best product on the market, they're still bringing it in at a price point that's affordable for everybody. This ain't no fancy pants, crystal infused, diamond dusted $100 bullshit. This is something that anybody can pick up and afford. Anyway, I'm going on and on about it. We got 3 new strains coming out. We got Banana Phone, which I know not everybody's a banana fan, but I sure as hell am. We got Whiskey River, which is gonna be a much smoother, mellower version of Whiskey Throttle. And my man Conrad coming in clutch again with the design work on Ice Cream Paint Job. And don't forget the eponymous Original Sin, the gift of knowledge. Open your mind and accept the Parcel Tongue's gifts. You might get kicked out of the Garden of Eden for it, but the freedom of thought, I think it's worth it. As we say around here, beware the sins of man, indulge the sins of women. Wait a sec, have I actually answered why I'm out here yet? I'm still not even sure. This trip took it out of me, y'all. This was a tough one. I feel like I've never been closer to absolute abject failure than I have been on this trip, and I've done some pretty dicey ones. Of course, I always think that during the trips, and then later on, as I tell the story a few times, I go, oh, it wasn't that bad. I knew what I was doing the whole time. I had a handle on it. Don't worry. And it's the regret period on this one, even though I don't regret anything. We did make it. I once again didn't learn my lesson. How many times can I not learn my lesson? I'm like, am I gonna run out of chances here? Am I running out of extra lives? How many quarters I got left? But yeah, the terrified shaking after I got away with it again is just lasting a few more days after this one. Good man. Good karma points there. Not that I deserve it, because I can't imagine how many people I've held up in the struggle bus. Oh my gosh. That one's keeping me up at night. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I pissed off a lot of people on this trip, and I feel freaking terrible about it. Casual viewers of the channel who think me some sort of ne'er-do-well Bugs Bunny character, which isn't that far from the truth. Well, you know, the true believers out there, the guys who really know me, will know that I actually do feel guilty about things sometimes, okay? And holding up people in traffic is definitely one of them. Enough that I'm like losing sleep over it. Yeah, I think I'm cured of messing around with RVs for a while. Maybe forever. Probably forever. That was, again, a character building experience. I wouldn't call it exactly fun. And as we're out here doing business with Sugar Tree J, partnering up for sessions in Brapstar, paving the way for Forgotten Angels, Oregon, you know, I can't sit here and not be a part of this community. Tampa is still my home, but we've made so many amazing friends out here. After all, we're trying to do good things out here. We're trying to help people. How can you know what to do? How can you help if you're not a part of the community? Now, Tampa is still my home. I'll always be a dirty hobo swamp wizard from the moist crevices of Florida. But the people out here in the PMW have welcomed me and Shaylisi with open arms. And it feels amazing to have a second family out here. It feels amazing to know that all across the world, I don't care what you look like, what you're doing, who you're with, if motorcycles are involved, I'm going to find some people I like. And not only am I going to find some people I like and like to hang out with, drink beers with, and ride with, but I'm going to find a whole hell of a lot of people who are down to make a difference in this world too. Other people out there who want to leave a big footprint. So I still don't know if I've answered why I'm out here. I guess I don't really know, man. I never really thought that having motorcycles as my autistic special interest would lead me to here, right now, in another state, when I thought I'd live in Florida my entire life. We still live in Florida. But here I am in the BMW on a shovel head. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess I could imagine motorcycles taking me here. I just don't know if I ever really thought it would happen. Hey, some people went to college, joined a frat house, and that's how they met everybody they know. I just hung out in dive bars and rode motorcycles instead. And I tell you this, I think we're a better class of losers than those other guys will ever be. Hey man, scum eventually floats to the top too, alright? We're basically just out here to get Brapstar West set up, like as much as there is to set up in our brand new home on wheels. As I said, I ain't above living in a trailer park. Some of my best friends live in trailer parks. And again, I'm not really above much. I'd always rather be below her, baby. Come on, you know how Shade Tree does it. Me and Shaylisi made it just in time because, yeah, things took a little longer on the road, as you guys witnessed. We made it just in time to finalize the 4 new strains: Banana Phone, Whiskey River, Ice Cream Paint Job, and Original Sin. And we're going back to Tampa for a while because we got a lot of stuff still there to do with Forgotten Angels right now, some stuff to do with Bert's, and then we'll be bouncing like a pinball back to here for the launch. Keep your eyes peeled. I really never know where I'm gonna be. I got a lot of people asking, hey, when's the next ride? And I don't always know myself. I promise I'm gonna try to get better about scheduling them farther out in advance. I wanna do a camp out here too. We're definitely gonna do a West Coast camp out for all my PNW guys. A lot of you guys have made it all the way down to the Wang for the Forgotten Angels camp out. That means so much to me. I'm looking at you lost on the road,
Grandma Rides, Circus Bear Moto, the man himself, Sugar Tree J, of course. I'm probably forgetting people who have made it, and I'm so sorry because you've traveled. Paco Pete! I'm still probably forgetting people who traveled really, the Works, of course. Well, he's not from the West End of America. The Works is from England, but still, he was at the Forgotten Angels camp out, and he's coming again this year. Check out The Works. He does awesome stuff on YouTube. Amazing Triumph channel. Dude, this place looks like a freaking movie set. What the hell? So all the campgrounds out here look like straight out of a Steven Spielberg movie or something. It's wild. Okay, I think I've officially disturbed nature enough with my hollering. Dang, dude, these guys are out here early hiking, huh? I guess it is Saturday. I'm out here early, absolutely disturbing the beautiful nature with this 1982 shovelhead. I mean, one man's disturbance is another man's hog cranking symphony, though, am I right? Well, I'm pretty sure all the hikers will just kind of go with disturbance. Out here riding these roads in July at this temperature, and I'm just like, man, all those other reasons I was thinking of, all the whys I'm out here, does any of it really matter in the face of this? All I really end up caring about is motorcycles. And I know I'm so freaking narrowly focused. I've got such a one-track mind. You guys wonder why I'm single? You know, I'm sure a lot of people could think of a lot of different reasons, but if you wonder why I'm single, why I am the way I am, it's because I have a one-track mind. If it doesn't have two wheels and a motor, I ain't tinkering with it, or I ain't out in nature enjoying it. I really just don't care that much. Now, if you want to come with me, that's great. But if you want to keep me from it, oh, that's going to be about the easiest choice I've ever made in my life. In fact, there's a lot of people out there whose heads got left spinning at how easily I made it. Once you're on the back of a bike, tucked safely into Mother Nature's cleavage out here on the blacktop, little else matters, does it? The view, baby, the view. We're turning around for that one. Oh no, looks like we'll have to go down this road to find a place to turn around and then go back up it. Heavens to Betsy, no! I'll tell you, I've never met a valley I couldn't reckless eyeball. Okay, I have drunk it in. Okay, I've drunk it in, and I got my picture. Now let's go. The drinking of it in with the eye holes is different from taking the picture, okay? You gotta do those things separately to truly enjoy it. All those guys who say you don't need to take a picture, you just gotta have a memory. I'm like, dude, shut the hell up. I want both. Well, boys, our home might have wheels, but it's still a home. And actually, when I think about it, that's more than I have back in Tampa right now. In Tampa, our housing situation is still completely up in the air. I make my jokes about living in a trailer park, my house having wheels. You know, that might be true. Our refrigerator might be an igloo cooler. I might have to go to a communal shower, but at the end of the day, this thing is still mine, and nobody can take that away from me right now. A lot of the future for myself, Shaylisi, and Brapstar is unknown right now, but I will tell you this. I suffer from something called reckless optimism. Though I wouldn't call it suffering, really. I appreciate you guys helping keep this channel independent. I appreciate all the work you guys do with us to help people with less than we have, less than you have. All those people out there who are suffering, it makes me feel good that we can be bad people doing good things. We are chaotic good. If you'd like to wear a Brapstar or Shade Tree Army on your tit, there's a link to brapstar.com down below. Limited quantities available for pre-order. All pre-orders will come with extra special sticker packs, but if you want the extra XXX sticker pack, Rule 34, make sure to put I am 18 in the order notes and put I've seen worse if you want something slightly more family friendly. And of course, the first 100 people or so who order, if you want both, I'll throw both in there. That's gonna about do it for this one. The future is unknown, but one thing is certain. At least I got a place to put my head down at night. Till next time, y'all, keep it weird.
Crashing through the sky comes a fearful cry. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Armies of the night, evil taking flight. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Panic spreading far and wide. Can the world oppose the deadly They never say die, walking tall with banners high.
Shade Tree Army, a ruthless gang of scum, villains, freaks, and bikers determined to rule the world.